Good morning, my fabulous friends, and welcome to Empowered Wellness, where today I'm speaking with my friend Lizzy Cole here. That way, that way. Anyways, she is here all the way from California, but she's from England, from the United Kingdom, and she's a nutritionist. And today we'll be talking about COVID and how we can actually help fight this virus from even getting it and how you can avoid it. So without further ado, I would love for you to drop your questions if you have any. Maybe you know of someone who has had it. Maybe we could even go in that direction and say, how can you get back to normal if you've had it even, or if you have any questions or anything, drop them in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. I see that you're watching. Karen is here. Yay. In fact, let me just play with this for a little bit. Karen, yay!
Yay!
I love it. I love this.
Hi, Karen.
Karen. So cool. Okay, here we go. I'm going to hand it over to you, Lizzy, and I'm going to pop off the screen so people can pay attention to you. Ready? Let's try this out.
Let's go.
Okay.
Awesome. So hello, everybody from not so sunny California. It's more like my home country this morning, but it's great to be with you. As Gina said, today I'm going to be talking about our immune health and how it relates to COVID. So yeah, definitely pop any questions that you have in the comments. I'll happily answer those. But I think the first thing I want to kind of cover is just some basic things to bear in mind when you're looking at looking after your immune system. So you may have heard the old wives' tale that vitamin C can help you reduce the duration of the cold. Well, that's not necessarily true, but vitamin C is one of the most important nutrients when it comes to our immune system. So vitamin C can be found in our citrus fruits. So there's plenty of those in both Hawaii and California. But you can also get vitamin C from green leafy vegetables and even white potato is really, really high in vitamin C. So a lot of people demonize that white potato and go, oh, I need to have the sweet potato. But white potatoes are actually pretty healthy and they're a really good source of vitamin C. So those are some good sources. And essentially what vitamin C does is that it is an antioxidant. It's a really, really powerful antioxidant that helps our bodies fight any viruses, and also some chronic diseases, including heart disease, cancer, that kind of thing. But it works with our bodies to essentially fight those nasty free radicals that can cause illness. So make sure you're getting
really quick.
Yeah. What's a white potato? Just like a regular potato. So I refer to regular potatoes as white potatoes because some people, have sweet potatoes or yams. But a white potato is just like a regular baked potato, boiled potato, that kind of thing. So yeah, good question.
Right.
So make sure that you're having plenty of regular potatoes in your diet. As well as all those amazing fruits and veggies. Now that actually brings me to an interesting point with a nutrient like vitamin C. It's water soluble. So your cooking methods are really, really important. So with water soluble vitamins, they actually leach out into cooking water. So if you're thinking of boiling potatoes or boiling vegetables, I would strongly consider switching up your cooking method and actually trying steaming or even just microwaving, because that helps to retain more of the water-soluble nutrients, including vitamin C.
That's a good point, Lizzy, because someone just asked this question about mashed potatoes.
Yes. Okay, again, good question. So mashed potato, you're having to boil the potato first, which again will leach out some of that vitamin C and B vitamins, which are also water soluble. But then you're having to add extra stuff like butter and milk. So you're adding extra calories, potentially some sources of saturated fat, which aren't the healthiest. So I would always advise to go for just a baked potato or something like that. That's probably the healthiest form of the regular potato. But there's no harm in having mashed potato now and again. I love mashed potato. It's like top of my Thanksgiving wish list. But on a day-to-day basis, I would say try and stick to things that involve minimal processing and minimal additions like that butter and milk and that kind of thing. So yeah, again, great questions. I love it. Love it. So that's vitamin C. We can also enhance the immune properties of our food by adding herbs and spices. So talking of additions to our food and to our cooking, a lot of us put sauces or condiments with our dinner or whatever meal it might be. And we can actually, by switching up what we're adding, we can boost the immune properties of our meals. So for example, garlic contains a really potent compound called allicin, and this again has really strong immune boosting properties. So rather than putting like a ton of salt in your meal, use things like garlic. Turmeric is another really great one. And then you can also use a little bit of lemon for flavoring, because again, lemon is a great source of vitamin C. So I really advise you just to kind of like play with the cooking methods. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. Don't have to look at anything like a superfood. Superfoods is something that a lot of people talk about, and it's a big thing, especially in California. But superfoods aren't real. People are shocked when I say this, but superfoods, there's no such thing as a superfood. It's a marketing term, a very clever marketing term, but they don't exist. They may have, some helpful properties, but you can get everything that you need from a healthy, balanced diet, and by switching up your cooking methods without just kind of like
garlic is a superfood, right?
Garlic. Yeah, it's been kind of discussed as a superfood.
Right.
Berries. yeah, there's a ton.
I believe it's kind of just like foods that are better for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the key is to kind of like incorporate a range of foods in your diet. And if we do that, a lot of foods are superfoods because they all work synergistically. Right. So as I say, vitamin C is really great through our immune system, but it's also really important for our bodies to absorb iron. So when we eat foods that contain iron and we pair it with foods that contain vitamin C, both of those properties are just enhanced. So that's just one example of how one food can't solve absolutely all of our health needs. So having a range is really, really important. Definitely.
Yeah. Here's a question. It says, what about lemon water?
Oh, yes, lemon water. That's pretty trendy. So again, definitely a really great thing to have because you're getting some vitamin C, but there's no like really strong evidence to suggest that it's going to completely solve all of your problems. So if you enjoy having lemon water in the morning, then definitely do. It's going to obviously contribute to your vitamin C intake, but there's no evidence to suggest that it's going to cleanse your system or any of those kind of claims that may be sort of bandied about on the internet. So that goes down to kind of like the just kind of having a balanced approach. So if you enjoy your lemon water, then keep doing it. It's definitely going to help, but it's not necessarily going to give you all of the benefits that some people claim. And it's confusing.
Yeah, he's got a lot of questions. Or she. Yeah. I don't know their name, but it says, what's the best food to eat for iron?
Yeah. So my question to you would be, are you vegetarian or vegan? Because the best food to actually give you iron is meat, red meat, which we have been told that isn't actually good for us. But it can be in moderation. So again, balance. So foods that give you iron are things like red meat, also white meat and fish. Generally, animal-based sources are the best sources of iron. Just our bodies just utilize it so much better than plant-based sources. However, if you are vegetarian or vegan, you can get everything that you need from a plant-based diet. You just have to be super careful because the kind of processes our body's using that iron is not as efficient. So good sources of plant-based iron include things like spinach. So remember Popeye, super strong, loves his spinach. Things like nuts and seeds can contain iron. We've also got things like beans, pulses. They're really, really good sources. But make sure that you are pairing it with that vitamin C because, as I say, vitamin C enhances iron absorption and can therefore sort of increase that biological value of your meal. So, for example, in the morning, you might have a spinach omelette and pair it with a glass of
Sounds really good.
Yeah, so good. So yeah, it's just being kind of like sensible with how you have a plant-based diet and making sure that your body gets everything that it needs. And then also, interestingly enough, I'm drinking it right now, but tea, I'm English, my cup of tea in the morning, but tea actually decreases iron absorption. So if you're having your meals with tea, I would strongly advise you actually stop doing that because things called tannins in tea reduces the absorption of iron in the body. So have the tea separately to your meal and pair it with something that's high in vitamin C.
Cool. Okay, so you were mentioning a little bit about cooking methods and different things. And what about taking supplements like I just took vitamin D?
Okay, great question. So most of the time you can get everything that you need from your diet. Even vegans who have, less variety to choose from. But the exception can be vitamin D and omega-3s as well. So if you're not eating oily fish, for example, you may need to take an omega-3 tablet. For the majority of us with vitamin D, we get everything that our body needs from the sunlight. Now, on a day like today, that is not going to happen.
I know, it's raining too.
It's really disgusting. So we rely on our sun to activate a process within our skin that produces vitamin D. There aren't very many good food sources. So people who live at higher latitudes, like my native country of England, people who are darker skin, and people who are inside a lot, #COVID, generally need to take a vitamin D supplement to ensure that you're getting everything that your body needs. Now, this is really, really important when it comes to COVID because if there's one thing there is really good evidence for is in preventing COVID, the vitamin D levels in your body is really, really important. So the Spanish flu.
There's your little friend.
The Spanish flu. There was a study that was done that said that people who had lower vitamin D levels were more likely to get the Spanish flu, but also suffer really negative effects of it and potentially higher mortality rate. And the same is looking to be true with COVID. So patients who have diabetes or heart disease are at a higher risk of developing COVID and having complications, but also those who are low in vitamin D. So I would highly advise everyone out there to look into having a vitamin D supplement. However, there's a caveat to this. So vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin, which means that unlike vitamin C that I talked about before, it's stored in our bodies. It's stored in our fat. So we have to be really careful because if we have too much vitamin D, it gets stored up in our bodies. And that can lead to issues with our with our cardiovascular system. So we need to get a balance. We don't want to go out to Rite Aid and buy all the vitamin D and just neck it all, because that is also not gonna be very good for your health either. So if you want to kind of get a balance with that, so a 1,000 international units of vitamin D supplement is what we would recommend, or 10 micrograms of vitamin D per day. So make sure you kind of like stick to that. But yes, definitely vitamin D supplement can be a really powerful thing during COVID to fight off the virus.
Right. Lizzie, I'm going to just add something a little more to that, because even though I live in Hawaii, I was my body was not didn't have enough vitamin D. And so that's what I feel is like the precursor for other diseases, not just COVID, you know? So paying attention to what our body needs and then just filling it, because yeah, that's like the ultimate underlying reason why we're getting sick, is because our bodies are lacking these vitamins and minerals, you know?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
yeah.
And I feel like we turn to kind of like quick fixes for when so when we want to feel healthy. And as I say, you know, supplements and, you know, all of these things that are marketed to us can be a good addition to our diets, but I would always recommend that we look at kind of how we're getting our nutrients too, because supplements are generally artificial, and we're natural living, breathing beings that want to get all of our nutrients from other natural living, breathing beings. So it's really, really important that we kind of try and get it all from our food, and have that kind of balanced approach too.
Yeah, I agree with you. But I also see like, as far as vitamin C, and you know, when you talk about ascorbic acid isn't real, it's chemical, you know, but we can get vitamin C from amla berry and other whole foods that are in a pill form. They're real food, but they're in a pill form. So I see that the whole thing about supplements being the feeling that supplements are not real, but not all of them are the same.
That's true too. So it's really important to know what you're looking for and shopping around. So yes, there are some really good ones out there, but there's some also really not so good ones. So again, you know, this is where working with a nutritionist can help, and, you know, pointing you in the right direction, because we can kind of say, all right, so these are the kind of things that you need to look out for, and these are some brands that I recommend. But again, you know, it's getting into that behavior of not necessarily just reaching through a supplement. Because it's kind of interesting, actually, this is off on a tangent, but in the UK, people are a lot more skeptical about taking supplements. I think it's kind of moving in a different direction now. Whereas over here, I feel like there's very kind of like, oh yeah, I take my supplements in the morning. It's very kind of part of the culture. So I think that kind of like might also contribute to us getting sick, is that we're sort of relying on medications and supplements to sort of fulfill all of our needs. So again, it's getting that balance between, yes, we can supplement, but we also want to like try and kind of implement some really key behaviors that are going to help us to stay healthy.
Exactly. And that's the habit part of it too, right? You know, releasing what's not working and adding in what is.
Yes. So nutrition behaviors, oh my goodness, there are so many different habits out there. And our habits are changing with COVID as well. So when we worked in an office, we didn't have the lure of the kitchen 24/7 where I could just go and grab a quick snack, and you know, our routines are out. So lunch breaks, a lot of people are eating their lunch at a computer. I mean, a lot of people did that before, but I feel like that's happening a lot with the current pandemic, because people are like, okay, I'm going to grab something real quick and just scoff it down and then keep working. So there are some interesting behaviors and how they've kind of evolved during the pandemic. But there's definitely been some improvements in nutrition behaviors too. So people are cooking a lot more
Mhm.
from home, and sort of buying fresh produce and doing all of that kind of stuff. So I think there's definitely been some positives over the last year for sure. Have you noticed any changes in your nutrition habits at all?
Well, I have been cooking at home, saving a lot more money. I used to love to eat out with friends. So
Yeah.
I miss that. I miss meeting friends for meals, but I had some friends over the other morning here instead, and it was
Mhm.
nicer, instead, because if we were to go out to coffee, we'd have to, yeah, it's just not as
Mask up
fun.
and
Yeah, so it was actually nicer for them to come here, and we had a nice morning.
yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
amazing. And I think that's a really great idea, is to kind of, if you're missing that social aspect to food, it was really, really important. Just kind of invite people around, or do a Zoom kind of cook along where you all do the same recipe, and just hang out afterwards. Incorporate
Mhm.
game night with, having some sort of like homemade healthy smoothies or something like that. I don't know.
Mhm.
But just kind of like adapting what you're doing to suit the sort of current situation.
Mhm.
But I think that aspect of the sort of social element of food is something that a lot of people are finding hard to deal with, is, getting around a big table and enjoying food with friends and family. That's very difficult. In England, they put in a restriction over Christmas where you couldn't see more than, I think it was 4 people outside of your home. And I think that was super difficult for some people. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, restrictions are still, I think it's 5 now. And so if we gather, it's usually outside. Yeah.
Hmm.
So, and it's
Yeah.
nicer outside anyway.
It is, and I think also, that's going to change potentially in the future, how we're actually, even post COVID, how we're enjoying our food. Restaurants, I think, will do more kind of takeout services, potentially, drive up and order and pick up, that kind of thing. I think
Mhm.
that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
I need to drink my tea more, but
Yeah.
yeah. I
Well,
think it's definitely evolving.
I definitely see, like, we're not ever going to have a new normal. Our new normal has evolved, and there are new needs that we have, and we're learning how to care for ourselves through nutrition, time in nature. All of these things are so critical, and we've just been awakened to our health, our bodies,
Absolutely.
you
I think
know?
we have really, that's a really good point, is that a lot of people have woken up and realized, oh my goodness, our
Mhm.
health is our wealth. It's
Yeah.
without our health, nothing in life is accessible to us. We literally can't see our friends and family.
Mhm.
Our jobs are on the line. Like, we have to put our health as a priority. And I think
Yes.
that's an amazing realization. But
Mhm.
it's very tricky for a lot of people still, because they have not been putting their health first. I think a lot of people know it, but I think a lot of people also find it really difficult to do that, because
Mhm.
they've got 3 kids, a full-time job, a
Right.
partner to, yeah. So I think it is hard.
Definitely. And that's why I think it's so important to work with somebody who can be an accountability partner for you, to be a teacher, a mentor, someone to teach you how to get out of the old stuck habits and to make it possible for you to be healthy, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that is the key reason why people come to me, is that accountability.
Mhm.
Most people intuitively know what they need to do.
Mhm.
Most people kind of like know, oh, it's a portion size thing, or I just need to, cook more, or most people have that kind of general sense of, I
Mhm.
think I know what to do, but it's hard doing it on your own. So having someone to be accountable to
Mhm.
is amazing. It's really, really, really powerful, and that can
Yeah.
keep you motivated during the tough times, because it's great to kind of like start off with a commitment of, yeah, I'm going to look after my health, but then
Mhm.
over time, that motivation can kind of, cycle. So having someone there kind of like saying, are you still cooking for yourself? Are you still looking after yourself? What are you doing? I think a lot of people will find that really useful, and that's kind of where I do a lot of my work.
Yes, I love it. And so what I know you and I have both learned is it's so important to celebrate our wins. And when you're working with a nutritionist like yourself, I'm sure that's probably the biggest thing, is to be proud of your accomplishments and where you've come from and the life that you feel in your body. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Celebrating anything small, such as, oh my goodness, I added an extra piece of fruit and vegetable into my day, to I reached my goal of losing 50 pounds. All of those things are incredible, and that's what makes my job so fulfilling. But I also say to clients, it's you doing it. You did it.
Right.
I just kind of like was sat tapping your shoulder, just saying, are you doing it? But you did it. So I think that's a really important acknowledgement too, because that builds self-trust. And it also feeds into that kind of sustainable, I'm going to keep going because I can do it. I would say to clients, I take them on for 3 months, but I say, I don't want you to be working with me forever, because that's just not realistic. I want you to kind of do the things, and then I don't want to see you again.
Yeah.
I love you, but I don't want to see you again.
Bye.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that's really important too, is both celebrating the successes, but also, taking credit for giving yourself a pat on the back, which a lot of us are pretty bad at doing.
Oh, it's so bad. I know it. So it's good to learn that, how to be good to yourself, how to accept how powerful you are in your decisions and your commitment to your health.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that kind of feeds into just that idea is like, we can't celebrate ourselves. It's almost like a badge that we're too busy to look after ourselves, to get enough sleep. We're too busy to cook dinner tonight. It's almost like there's kind of a cultural credit to abusing our bodies, putting ourselves last. But as an ex-flight attendant, you will know you put on your oxygen mask before you put the oxygen mask on other people. So, and it's so true. Like, if you haven't got anything in your cup, you can't do anything. I've gone through cycles in the past where I've been so, tied up with, I need to work, I need to work, I need to achieve. And I just burnt out. And, you're useless at that point. You can't help anybody. So look after yourself and do that sustainably,
Right. Okay. So how can people contact you? I hear you're writing a book as well.
Yes.
You're writing a book. Yeah.
I am. And this actually feeds in nicely to what we were talking about. So I had a 10-year eating disorder when I was a teenager. So from the ages of 14 to 24, I was anorexic. And there was a lot of self-abuse during that time. And I am now an internationally established nutritionist, which I'm very proud of. But I'm very passionate about making sure that other women don't go through what I went through, and that we are kind to our bodies. So I'm writing a book about my experiences and giving advice about how women can look after themselves, just that little bit more. So I'm very excited about that. If you would like more information about that book, then please reach out. My business is called Nutrition by Lizzy. I have an Instagram and Facebook page under the same name. But also I still offer private one-to-one support. So as I say, I work with clients for 3 months, where, we have that individualized, very focused support. So again, if you're interested in that, please reach out via my website, and also Instagram or Facebook, whatever is most suitable for you. I am available on all platforms at all time zones. I have clients both in the US and the UK. So, yeah, very, very
nice.
flexible.
Well, I
And
appreciate your taking time to speak with us, and I got to see your tux there.
yeah. So if you want consultations with him,
Yeah.
that comes at a premium. But no. So thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure. And if
Yeah.
anyone has any more questions after listening to this, also, please reach out. Like, I'm very happy to take any questions.
Awesome. I'm really excited for people to find you and that you can inspire them to live a healthier, happier life. Yes.
Thank you
you
so
so
much.
much, Lizzy.
Thank
This is
you. I
great.
really appreciate you.
Yeah. Awesome. Everyone have a dry, happy day wherever you're at. And we'll see you later for more Empowered Wellness. Have a great day.